Phantom Liberty is obviously, without a doubt, the most anticipated update since the release of Cyberpunk back in 2020. Mind you, if you told me back then that we get a DLC 2 to 3 years after release, my response would likely have been, 2 or 3 years, this game will be lucky to survive 2 or 3 weeks. Fortunately, after fast forwarding to now, myself and many other players are actually really looking forward to this entirely new expansion, and the many features it will add to the already excellent base game. Stick with me today, and I'll be discussing 5 of the most anticipated features that will be coming in Cyberpunk Phantom Liberty, from a radio host voiced by Sasha Grey to Johnny Silverhand coming back. Right, let's get into it. Funny. At number 1, as mentioned, we will be getting a new radio station known as Growl FM. It's going to feature 12 to 15 tracks created and submitted by the community, which I think is a great way to get new artists out there. Presumably, it'll feature more songs on top of that as well, else it'll get pretty loopy. If you want to enter this competition, then the official tweet says you have until November 30th, 2022 to submit your piece, but do read the terms and conditions if you do enter, as whilst winners will win $3,000 each, they'll also be handing creative rights for their song over to CD Projekt Red, so I guess they're essentially buying your song for a reasonable price to a new artist, though if we get more hits as big as I Really Want to Stay at Your House from Cyberpunk Edgerunners, I'm guessing artists might be kicking themselves for signing those rights away. That being said, they may never get the exposure to that song in the first place, if not for Cyberpunk, so it's a tough one to weigh up. This radio station will be hosted by a member of the Mox gang called Ash. She will be voiced, of course, by none other than Sasha Grey, who is best known from Twitch. Of course, she's a streamer and has a YouTube and has started a few things, including this game. Now, I'm actually really looking forward to this, as the radio in Cyberpunk has felt a little lackluster before now, and introducing an actual radio host should help breathe more life into the game. Also, just a little speculation here, but seeing as the Mox are a gang, could this be some sort of illegal pirate radio? And if so, could it factor into the story, or perhaps a side quest at some point? Could we actually come across Sir Asher? I wonder if that's a deliberate nod there. Could we come across Ash in the game and maybe team up for some Mox-related radio quest? Hell, speaking of the Mox, it might also mean we get to see Judy again, and those who chose to romance her could get a nice expansion on that storyline. It's not an expansion, of course, without a new map area. And according to what we see in the teaser trailer, this expansion will be seen in part of Pacifica, specifically the stadium from the base game, which is inaccessible and probably is having construction work going on. It looks like Militech as well will be heavily involved in this expansion, seeing as they're heavily tied up with the US government. V is seen swearing an oath to serve them in the trailer. Now, if you weren't already aware, Night City, despite being on US soil, does not fall under the jurisdiction of the US government, but is instead ruled by megacorporations such as Arasaka, though in reality most of it seems to be dominated by gangs nowadays. Anyway, whilst the stadium is all but a confirmed location, I just want to throw a couple ideas out there from my own analysis of the trailer. One thing which did really catch my eye was this blue beam thing, which kind of reminds me of the green synthesis option from Mass Effect 3. Now, perhaps this could be a feature of the stadium, and I think there's a very good chance it is, and something high-powered like this could be what they're building. But wouldn't it be cool if a mission or two within this DLC took place in space? It's been heavily shown through both some game endings and the Edgerunners show that humans maintain a large presence both in orbit and on the moon. It feels a shame this not being featured at all in the game, and also the beam is travelling downwards, so perhaps it's a way for passengers to depart from a spaceship onto the moon. Then again, it might be some sort of excavation laser in the stadium, although what it could be uncovering from underground is beyond me. It could also be some feature of the Black Wall, although this bit where you're walking in, it looks like it's real life still, so that's a little confusing. Still, some very intriguing options there, and I can't wait to learn the truth of what this is really. Let's talk more about this expansion's involvement with the US government. Or perhaps I should say the new US government. In 2077, the President of the United States is Rosalind Myers, a former Militech CEO. Funnily enough, her predecessor Elizabeth Kress is also a Militech CEO. Noticing a pattern here? Militech and government seem pretty synonymous, though it's important to note they are still separate entities, at least on paper. What I find strange is how the teaser involves V taking an oath to serve the new United States government, something Johnny appears unhappy with, but then V is also weirdly seen fighting Militech with a monowire, and I have two initial simple conclusions to this. A, V infiltrates the new US government for a purpose to suit their own ends, whether that is to do with the relic or not, but then starts to dismantle them from the inside as an entirely rogue component. Just V and Johnny versus the entirety of the new United States government. B, which is likely more plausible, V is recruited in order to fight a civil war within the government. Perhaps a rift has formed between them and Militech, and V is sent in as an infiltrator to try and patch things up. This could lead us down a whole rabbit hole of conspiracy. Also, what interests me is the term Phantom Liberty, which to me references the idea of freedom being an illusion. Perhaps an agenda of the US government here is either in part or whole to gain more control over the populace, particularly in Night City, whilst maintaining the illusion that they still have total autonomy and freedom. With this power, they could do pretty much anything.
You could let 1% of the people have all the nation's wealth. You could ignore the needs of the poor for healthcare and education. I know this is hard for you Americans to imagine, but please try.
So yeah, just a thought. The next feature I want to talk about is vehicle combat. Now, I must admit, it hasn't been confirmed whether this will roll out as part of Phantom Liberty or just a general feature update, but it will be a massive change to the game and offer a whole new range of dynamics. So let's break down exactly what it will involve. First of all, I think we can all agree that the police system in Cyberpunk leaves much to be desired. You literally drive off at speed for about 10 seconds and they completely give up. With the police and vehicle combat system overhaul, I'm initially picturing something more akin to GTA, which would be nice, but if I may speculate on the details of this for a second, imagine car chases so intense that it feels like a movie scene every single time, with roadblocks up ahead at every turn, super advanced police AI that is actually capable of outsmarting you, maybe even a machine learning capability that figures out your tactics, making it harder to evade police as time goes on. If you have a tendency to hide down alleyways, you'll find more police baiting you out down alleyways. Tend to shoot your way out of situations, police turn up to fight more armed and armoured. I know it's only speculative, but I think a player machine learning mechanic could be more in tune with the complete police system overhaul described, and so much more than just a GTA clone. And finally, Johnny Silverhand is coming back. We don't know much about his involvement here aside from his disagreement at V's oaths in the trailer, as I mentioned earlier, as well as Keanu Reeves' general announcement. It's great to see his clear enjoyment and passion when working on this project, but that one doesn't seem to give us much in the way of details. What we can infer from his presence here, however, is that this expansion definitely takes place before the endgame of the main story. This makes sense, obviously, as V doesn't make it out of every ending alive, and I can't imagine the devs wanting to force some players into an ending they didn't choose. It looks as though there's going to be an internal struggle going on between V and Johnny. Johnny, of course, has worked for Militech in the past, wherein he helped nuke Arasaka Tower and, well, died in the process. I'm hoping he has a big role to play in this expansion aside from just appearing in the background to offer entertaining commentary, as he's a great character. What's more, just running back to my theories on why V is seen fighting Militech despite working for the new US government, maybe Johnny has a hand, a silver hand, behind the seeming change of sides at some point. Food for thought. But with that, it's time to wrap up for today. Let me know what new things you're excited to see in Cyberpunk Phantom Liberty, and I'm especially interested in hearing about this blue beam of light. That thing looks awesome and highly mysterious. If you could like this video, that would be great, as it'll help YouTube promote it to more people. I'm currently on a bit of a grind right now, trying to reach 1,000 subs. This will allow me to monetize my videos and, most importantly, allow me to allocate more working hours to this channel so I can bring better and more up-to-date content going forward. If you've been enjoying my content thus far and want to see more in the future, please subscribe if you haven't already, as it will get me even closer to that important goal. Thanks for watching. I'm Sam Brown, and I'll see you in another video.